Yeah, Ampath, the guys are going. Hi, Ampath Informatics. Am I breaking up too?
No, I think it's just them. I think
Okay.
we lost them.
uh, Ampath Informatics, Win, are you recording this?
Yeah, I started recording it.
Oh, you're recording, man. Okay,
Yeah.
so great.
Okay, they're back.
I think these guys they have a very bad internet connection. They keep appearing and disappearing.
Yeah, I think so.
Good morning, Bart.
Good morning.
Welcome to the call.
This is the call.
The what?
I said this is the call.
Yeah, looks like, isn't it?
This is we're trying to call them, or they're trying to call into the hangout.
Yeah.
This strikes me more as
His experience was good.
Yeah. Hello.
His connection was excellent. I was terrible.
We are not even here yet.
You're lucky if you can.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay. Sorry, we had some trouble connecting. So I guess Regan was explaining about the imaging issue with Mozilla. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we have
no
two
one.
Regans now. Right.
Sorry.
No, I mean we have two Regans on the call. It's fine as long as it works. It's fine.
okay. Oh, right. How do we get another Regan off?
Yeah, just let's proceed. It's okay. I mean, if it doesn't interfere or it has any problem, I think it should be okay.
Ah. Okay, yes. Continue.
Yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, so as I was saying, so I was trying out the two techniques of embedding images within Mozilla Forms. So I have techniques, A64 encoded image string into the image tag. So the next thing of that is you have one HTML file that contains all your images. You don't need to store the images on disk. That's the pro. The con is the disadvantage is you have a huge HTML file, with the size of that string being embedded within. So that's the first one. Then the second technique is just using the file path. So create your form, put in the image, the IMG file, and then in the source attribute just specify the path. So the nice thing about that is you have a very light HTML file that's a little easy to debug, a little easier. The disadvantage is you have to save the image on the disk. So as I was saying, I'll send that teleconsultation form after this, so everybody can have a look at it and see the two techniques. That's it.
Yeah. So thanks, Regan, for that. So we'll go to the agenda unless anyone has to do that he would like to update. Okay, so the agenda for today, I think we have one that is a weekly ticket review.
Yeah. Thanks, Manu. I think I was the one who put that agenda up. So basically, I was usually I've been going through
Okay.
this out. Yeah. You're saying something?
No, just go ahead, Willa.
Okay. Yeah, so basically I go through our tickets periodically, and sometimes I discover that we have these tickets, we have these comments like something is going on, and then it just breaks off for a very long time. And then at some point somebody comes and say, okay, what's going on here? So I was just thinking maybe I would like to suggest we establish the kind of a habit of going through our tickets and see what you're supposed to do in a given week. For example, for me, I try to go through all the tickets every week, like for the entire developer group. And in most of those tickets, I try to leave comments like, okay, what's going on here, guys? What is the next step? Or these kind of comments. So I think it is a good practice for all of us, like for me or Reagan or any other developer to go through your tickets, at least weekly, and see what tickets you have and remind yourself what you're supposed to be doing and see if anything is happening on that ticket, because sometimes we get carried by other stuff. Like I'm working on ticket 1, and then for some reason I have to switch to ticket 2. And then if I don't go again through my tickets, I'll probably forget about ticket 1, and probably there is something I could say about that, or maybe I could put it on hold, because sometimes you have these tickets that are in progress while they're supposed to be maybe on hold, or there's to be some status change. But just because you switched it without going to the ticket and do it explicitly, changing it to some another status, and then you just forget about it, you keep on working on some other stuff, and then after a very long time you go back to the same ticket, somebody's asking something and the ticket is in progress. So basically it's just I'm just suggesting the way of us remembering what we are supposed to be working on, what's going on with those tickets, and what do we have on our plate. That's my suggestion, especially at least weekly for every one of us. I don't know what you think, guys, about that.
Yeah, Will, I agree. It's probably a good idea if we did that. But I think what you started off by mentioning one of the issues that we've had for quite a while, which is we move around a lot. So we'll be working on one set of tickets for this week before moving off to something else. So, I mean, you're right. We probably should be having that review just to make sure that we know which tickets we're working on. But I think one of the underlying issues that points to is that we are a little too fluid, in the sense that we work on too many projects in a very short time. So what I mean, for instance, is a lot of my experience has been in commercial development, where you have a 3-month, 6-month development cycle. There are a very specific set of tasks that will very rarely change. So that's not the case here. So for us, like for instance, last week our key priorities were Mozilla, and some of the OpenMRS handlers working on trying to in 713. So so the issue is, I think sometimes the issue is made worse because we don't really have like a 3-month work plan. We don't have a very long or moderately long-term plan. We have sometimes even a weekly plan, and so sometimes that's what leads to that, where you have a lot of tickets just hanging about, whose status hasn't been declared. Nobody knows if they're on hold. But you're right. I mean, at one point or another, we should definitely spend some time just reviewing all tickets and just putting a status to them or updating to show others on what's going to go on with that ticket.
Yeah, so Reagan, to add on what you're saying, so yeah, basically the environment you're working on is very dynamic, and sometimes the priorities, they can just change in a month. Like this week we're supposed to be doing this, it's very high priority, and then after some time, for some reason, depending on some external factors, we are supposed to move to something else. And I think we have to be flexible enough to adjust this kind of environment, because we don't have that kind of ideal, workflow. And maybe we should work towards that. But for now, we have to act accordingly. So basically, I think the other reason we keep on moving from stuff to stuff, because the team, if you look at the team, we don't have a very big team, but you have a lot of stuff to accomplish. So that's another reason. So what I'm trying to say is, to avoid having all these tickets in which people don't know what's going on, it's easy for every one of us to go through their tickets. For example, when I'm going through tickets, I find at least, I mean, for most part, every one of us doesn't have more than like tickets which are in progress, not more than 10. It's easy for every individual of us to go through their 10 tickets, or I don't know, maybe maximum 15. I think these days I only see. Back then, when I was just starting, I was seeing a lot of tickets, like somebody is having 20 or something. But these days, the number is becoming smaller, and it's basically not more than 10. So it's easy for somebody to go through their 10 tickets weekly and see, okay, what's going on here. Am I going the right way? What is happening in this ticket? And that kind of activity is easy done individually than all of us going through every other ticket. I just thought it's better to do individual on your specific tickets. Yeah, so basically that's I was just thinking about that, and I
How
thought
many how many tickets is it? What's the maximum number of tickets that any one developer should have assigned to them?
but I think we don't have that number. We really don't have a specific number like, okay, this is maximum.
So someone could have 1,000 tickets assigned to them, and that's okay.
Ideally, yes. I'm not sure if it's okay. I think it's not okay, but ideally, yeah. I mean, when we are assigning somebody a ticket, we don't really look at the number of tickets they have.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is maybe we should do that. So, for example, if we knew as a group that nobody should have more than 15 tickets assigned to them at any given time that are not.
You are gone back? Are you done or are you gone?
That's the can example. You shouldn't ever have more than this many tickets that are in progress. You shouldn't ever have more than this many tickets assigned to you. You shouldn't ever have more than this many tickets that are on hold or waiting for information. By putting some thresholds that everyone agrees on, and they don't have to be really conservative, but I think at least having some idea that allows you to recognize, oh, wait a minute, this person has 30 tickets to assign them. They should never have more than 10. What's going on here? We need to sort this out.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean
I think
we have. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I think one of the we have a very flexible model here, as well as said. We pretty much pick up any tickets that need development. And I think that's one of the things that will make it very difficult to have a threshold or a maximum on the number of tickets that a developer can have. Because the thing is, as tasks come, and as well as said, given that we are few, somebody will need to take up those tickets. So, we might have that threshold, but I think we'll quickly realize that that threshold is more semantic than practical, because we suddenly have to assign them. So that's like I said, I guess that's one of the complexities about the projects.
Well, the purpose of the threshold is not to say. The purpose of the threshold is not to say, well, you can't do work. The purpose of the threshold is to help everyone recognize when everything's being spread out to where you're being non-productive. So if you say that, oh, there's no threshold, and someone, let's say one of the developers can have 30 things in progress, I can tell you right now that that person does not have 30 things in progress. There's no possible way a human being can be working on 30 things at once. And so there's two different problems that you're addressing here. One is, what should the individual be, how do we know what an individual is working on? How does that individual know when they are, something needs to be corrected? And then there's the other problem is when things, how, as a group, how do we manage the tickets? So one side is managing the tickets for the individual, the other side is managing tickets for the group. And the idea of managing tickets for the group is to say, let's make it clear what tickets should be taken up next. Figure out the priorities and decide on those tickets that aren't assigned to people. How do we know which queues they should go in, and how do we organize those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with that. Sorry. So the problem with that is we're not really in control of what the priorities are. So our priorities are communicated to us by management, and that, I guess, leads to that problem where we really can't specify what we'll be working on. Things like that. So I would certainly love.
So one place to start is to, by defining what is reasonable for a developer. Like, for example, if someone is assigned 10 things and you say you can't be assigned more than 10 things, and then you say, oh, I need you to work on this, then that means that they need to unassign themselves from some, like if they take on 2 new tickets, they need to unassign themselves from 2 other tickets, rather than just leaving them so that they're forever forgotten and assigned to someone.
Yeah, well, the model that we have, I guess the model that we've been using informally, that is that when they'll probably be, this is, we probably just leave that ticket assigned to that person, and then the developer picks up a new ticket, assigns that to themselves. So all the old tickets that they're working on still retain that status that they're assigned to this developer. Because the thing is, even and still assign it back to that party. So, I mean, you're right. Perhaps having a methodology where we unassign a ticket and then reassign it when that developer is working on it may be a good way to go. But the reality is, we probably will reassign that ticket back to the developer. We're just waiting for him to finish his current task, and that's the issue. And sometimes that's what makes
yeah. And so if you leave it as assigned, then that means that someone being assigned a ticket, the meaning of that changes. Now the meaning is that that person is either going to work on the ticket, they are actively working on the ticket, or maybe they worked on that ticket 6 months ago and it's just sitting and is long forgotten.
Yeah, so but that's why I suggested for every one of us going through the tickets at least weekly. So if you go through your tickets and you say, okay, you know what, this is not in progress anymore, this is on hold, and you put some information there, yeah, okay. You say that, okay, this is what happened regarding this ticket. ABC happened. That's why it is on hold. It is waiting for something like this. I mean, you leave some kind of information that will indicate to somebody who is reading, okay, this is what is going on this particular ticket. I mean, right now we have all these tickets. We have a very limited number of developers. So basically we're constrained. And there are so many ways to go about this. And probably the best way is to have this kind of management where you have like what you're suggesting, you have the developer not having more than maybe 5 tickets. But basically, if you look at the kind of environment we're working on, I think the best place to start is to have this kind of review. If we can have ourselves going through our tickets and indicate what's going on them, and trying to put on hold those things which are not in progress anymore, then I think it's going to help a lot. And maybe if we, for some reason, we find the best way to go about this, we can have this kind of threshold. Like, I mean, I don't want to have a system where we define things which we can't do. So we say, okay, nobody is going to have more than 5 tickets, and then in 1 month later, everybody is having more than 15 tickets. It's not really going to help. That's why I'm trying to. I think we should do something that is practical. That is going. Yeah.
The reason I mentioned the thresholds is that is the Kanban approach, and Kanban is specifically designed for a workflow where the specific work needed is changing, the requirements are changing, or what is priority is changing over time, and you want to make sure that you are being productive and moving things through. At least that basically you define, here's the amount of work we can do and what we can reasonably accomplish, and you create a stream through which the work can flow. The onus is still on, someone needs to be figuring out, okay, what is the next task that should be taken up. But setting that aside, that's a different problem. If you use the Kanban approach, the purpose of it is to say we are going to manage our resources. If we can't have complete control over what things, like define the project and then divide and conquer, because we can't say here's what we need to do over the next 30 days. That's the exact purpose of what Kanban was designed for, was to allow you to have a well-defined machine through which maybe it's this ticket or that ticket, or this project or that project comes up next week, but you have clarity on who's doing what, how many things they can be working on, how many. The purpose of those thresholds is not to say that you can't do work. The purpose of the threshold is to force you to answer those questions, to go back and look, like you're saying, Willa, I have 3 tickets on hold right now. I can't have more than 3 tickets on hold, so I have to I can't just take a fourth or a fifth or a 20th and put it on hold. I have to address that. I have to make a decision here in terms of, oh, well, maybe if I need to put this on hold, I need to take one of the other things and say, you know what, we can't do this right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, Buck.
Yeah.
So those thresholds allow
The thing is,
everyone to understand how the work should
really
happen.
Yeah, that
But
is.
difficult.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Regan.
So let's assume that we get to a point. Sorry. So assuming we have a Kanban and we're looking at it and we see that every developer has 10 or so tasks that they've put on hold or are in progress, which is of course way too much. The question then is, then what? What do we do about it? We could certainly unassign those tasks, but as I said, chances are that same developer will pick them up.
That's a great.
And we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the question means, what does it mean to be assigned a task? What does it mean to have something on hold? If you ignore, you say, well, we can't work with thresholds because we get too much work, then you're forever going to be in this process where you always have too much work and no one knows what someone's working on because someone has, well, I've got 20 tickets in progress, I've got 10 on hold, and I've got 50 assigned to me. What am I working on?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, having that Kanban will help, but what I'm trying to suggest is having something that's a bit higher level, having some sort of strategic management plan, where tasks the developer team controlled, having that plan would probably really, really help. Because the Kanban will definitely give a very good idea of what's going on, and chances are it will give an idea of a lot of tasks that are being assigned to developers. But if we could control the projects right from the management level, if we knew, for instance, that in the next 3 months we're only working on this, then then Kanban could really help. I mean, Kanban will help in terms of giving us.
Yeah, and those are what you're talking about. Those are two separate issues. Kanban is the workflow on how you handle the work that's being assigned and how you manage that. The how which tickets are going to get assigned, which things are becoming priority is a separate question. That's different than Kanban. That's basically what is our process for deciding what work needs to get done, and that's something that requires some leadership amongst the developers to say, these are the queues we're going to have. Maybe they're project-based, maybe they're just, here's the priority queue and here's the backlog queue. And if you have finished your work, then you're going to go to the priority queue and pick the top ticket off of that because that's the highest priority. Or if you are working on something and maybe you need a 10-minute break because your brain is fried, then go to the backlog queue and take something that's a tiny little task and knock that off. But that's that how you prioritize things, how you define what work will be done next. That's a separate issue than deciding how, when you know what work you're going to work on, how you're going to manage that work. That's what the Kanban's for.
Yeah, Buck, I think what you are suggesting is great, but I think we need to get more involved with the Kanban in order for that to work. So basically, when you say that I have 20 tickets assigned to me, 20 in progress and 20 on hold, basically, I think the way I see it, I think we consider something, and for every individual developer, we think they are working on something that is indicated that it is in progress. That is the status that we consider as, we can say that, okay, this dev is working on this particular ticket because the ticket is in progress. Of course, that's not necessarily the case right now because we have something in progress that is not in progress for a very long time. So if you look at this, to be very practical, I mean, we have so many issues and we need to cultivate the culture of getting us, all of us, the team, involved with the Jira. Sometimes we get carried away by some other stuff. We don't really interact with Jira that much. So by starting doing this at least weekly, I think we can get to the point where at least we can have we can be sure what's going on with every ticket assigned to somebody, because this person is going to go through their tickets at least weekly. We can be sure of that at least weekly and get some feedback from them. Like, okay, this thing is, sometimes you have a ticket is assigned to somebody, and the reason it is assigned to them, it is still new. But the reason it's assigned to them is because we still need some kind of interaction between this assignee and some other teams in order to get more information or to get clarification. Although this is not a very good workflow, but sometimes we have this kind of environment, depending on the kind of ticket or the problem that has been raised. Because maybe this guy has been working with them, and we're trying to get rid of that, but we have that. So we can't just say, okay, you know what, this is not good, just get rid of it. Because on the ground, that's what we have in some cases.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you get rid of it. Those are tickets that need more information.
Yeah,
which is
okay.
a different data.
Okay. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, for as a starting point, it's good. I mean, we tend to forget our tickets very much. Like, sometimes, I'll give an example. I've been working on, I was working on this upgrade, and I was fixing the form entry module. At some point, we had this PCS lab thing going on, and there was something that was supposed to be done. So that ticket was there, and it was really assigned to me. And basically, somebody had to ping me and say, okay, you know what's going on this ticket? And yeah, basically, the thing was finished by that time. But some of it was not implemented on the production server just because I shifted my attention to something else. So I had to go back there. So I realized sometimes we just forget about these kind of things because we're not very active in going through our tickets. So this will help a lot because I've seen it helps me, especially me. So I don't know, but I think we should start to, some of it is about interacting with Jira, and because we can have all these workflows in Jira, and it's great, we have the thresholds set, but if we are not using it, it's not really going to help. So yeah, the suggestion is good, the idea is very good. If we use it effectively, if we use Jira effectively, it's going to help a lot. I agree with that. But for now, I think the first step, why don't we just do that, and then along the way, we can go on and decide about these thresholds. It's a good thing to have threshold and the very good, clear workflow that indicates what's going on Jira and what are we working on right now. So basically, that's what I'm suggesting. Yeah, so what do you think, guys?
I think you're one of the lucky guys if somebody has to ping you. Can you hear me, Willa?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you again.
Willa, can you hear us?
Oh, you can hear us?
Oh, you can.
That's too bad.
Okay. No, I was saying, no, I can hear you guys, but it seemed as though you couldn't hear us. No, I was saying that it's I think you're one of the lucky ones where someone has to ping you to remind you of our tasks. Unfortunately, sometimes we get so inundated with our tasks, it's very difficult for us to even sometimes just spend time to go to Jira and see what's pending or what has been on the queue for long, because there's pressure from all over. People want things done and all that. So I understand what Bach was saying, that accepting tasks and prioritizing them are two separate issues, and that the first issue requires leadership.
Yes.
But I don't really think. I think at some point,
Yes.
when we're discussing about our tasks and how we review them and all that, I think at some point we'll have to consider how we accept those tasks. We'll have to consider that workflow. We'll have to consider a development cycle. We'll need to come up with one that is something we need to be very specific. This is what we are working on, and then after that, this is what we're going to be working on, because it's nice to be flexible. And we might not have a choice right now, but I can tell you that you'll almost always be in reactive mode. You'll always be reacting to something. You'll never really be ahead of the game. Your head will always be under the water. And I think if at one point we can have a discussion on developing a cycle, a software development cycle, whether it's every 3 months, every 6 months, where things are static, within that period, then we can really use these tools like Kanban and the rest, and even Jira to really manage our tasks. Otherwise, we'll always be fighting with a huge mountain.
Oh, Regan, you're breaking up. Okay. Yeah. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, considering all the things which are going on, which you have, we still need to be interacting with Jira. So basically, even if we have, I mean, it doesn't matter whether we have this workflow, the good one, the one which we want to have with the thresholds set and stuff like that. In both mode, we'll still need our team to be interacting with Jira as much as possible so that we can update what is going on. So basically, there are two problems here I think we're trying to solve. We have two different set of issues we're trying to solve. First of all, we don't have a very good workflow in the sense that we don't have thresholds. We don't really have a way of knowing what's going on and who is working on what. That is one thing. But on the other side, we have Jira, on which sometimes we don't interact with it that much, so we don't really update people for what is going on. So by pinging, reminding, when you say reminding of tasks, it's actually basically something that is going on all the time. It's just something saying, okay, what is the status? You know, you find this in almost every ticket. Like somebody comes and asks, what is the status of this ticket? What is going on this ticket? Okay. So basically, most of the times we have to react with comments like, okay, this is what is going on. Why we could have done that if we just went through the tickets, we could have easily said, you know what, this is what is going on. So that these people, these other team members wouldn't need to come and ask us, what is going on these tickets? That's what I'm trying to say. We have to be more interactive. We have to interact more with Jira and say what is going on and update those tickets accordingly. Yeah, so that's one thing. We can solve that. And then when you also have these workflows and you have thresholds set, we still need to be interacting with Jira. I mean, if you have these things in place and we don't interact with Jira, still it's going to be a problem. So basically today I was just suggesting that we increase our interaction with Jira. We keep on updating our tickets. We keep on saying what's going on and putting the tickets in their appropriate status. If it is on hold, then it should be on hold. At least for status, we can do that. If it should be in progress, then it is in progress. If it should be in some other status, then it should be there. That's that's basically what I was trying to say for today. Apart from all these other things which have been raised.
So we'll open up the call, and the team members can contribute to something they have to say in regards to the development, because we still have like
Yeah, so when we set up a ticket, Muzima 25, we were having an issue with authentication. So apparently, Muzima is unable to authenticate with OpenMRS if Muzima is running on Android 2.2. So when we were having an investigation we stumbled on some very confusing stuff. The thing we initially we thought that this was because Android 2.2 doesn't have, so for instance, okay, so just to give some details, some context, the LAC group, the LAC program, they have an OpenMRS server that's secured on HTTPS, and they're using a Starfield's certificate. So we thought initially, when we did our research, we thought initially it's because Android 2.2 doesn't support those kinds of certificates. It doesn't support certificates coming from that authority. But then when we had a look, we found that Android actually kind of certificate. But for some reason, we're still getting a not trusted exception.
What kind of
where if it's running on Android 2.2.
Regan, what kind of certificate is being used in that server?
Hello? Could you say that again?
What kind of certificate is being used on that server? Who issued it? Do you know?
509. Yeah.
Is the server accessible outside? Are they using separate server with production? Regan, can we continue this over IRC? I think we're having connection issues. I'll ping you guys over in IRC after this call.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do we have any other issue that you? Images for that for Muzima on the teleconsultation piece. Yeah. And then
Disconnected. We take the mouse. So,